What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Grant for One for Review, and today we're doing a collector's video on the Nintendo Mini Collection. Now, I usually do these collector videos on Facebook, but I decided to do it here on YouTube because, hey, why not? It's fun. So anyways, right in front of you, you can see all the boxes of all the different Nintendo Mini Consoles. Here from America, we have the NES and the SNES, or Super Nintendo. And then in Japan, we have the Famicom and the Super Famicom. Obviously, these are not completely different. There are some similarities. Each of these items contain 30 games in them. However, on the Famicom and the NES, there are 6 games that the Famicom has that the NES doesn't, and there are 6 games on the NES that the Famicom doesn't. And then same thing with these two. There are games that were popular in the United States that weren't popular in Japan, and games popular in Japan that weren't popular in the United States. But whatever. It's cool to see new games on these different things. And then here are the consoles themselves. Each and every one of them. Really nice designs, as we can see. I've accumulated these over the past 2 years. And it wasn't easy, especially with the NES. This was the hardest. And the Super NES, a little bit harder. Or no, not a little bit harder. It was a little bit easier, my bad. These two were the easiest because there's an abundance of them in Japan. They love these in Japan. It's just in the United States, there's not that much because I don't know why. But in Japan, almost every gaming store I went to, they had these, especially the Super Famicom. The Famicom, not so much, but I did find it. But as you can see, these are all of them right here. I gotta say, design-wise, the ones I prefer. Obviously, I'm an American. I am an American citizen. I've been an American citizen all my life. Lived here, grew up here. So obviously, these are more special to me because they are more nostalgic. Obviously, they have the more nostalgic value because I did grow up with them and I do know them. The Famicom, I learned about them back in 2005. Played on this Famicom back in 2009. However, I've never played on this, so it was a great experience playing on it. So I've played on these three a little bit, and I've played on the Super Nintendo a lot. So I have a good idea of how each work in general, but I will get to that later. But as far as design, like I said, obviously these are more classic to me. However, I have to admit, I prefer the Famicom versions. I just think they look a little bit more interesting, especially this one, the Famicom with the red and white on it. It just looks really nice, really unique compared to this, which is just kind of bland. It's like, oh, okay, it's a box. And then you have this, which is like, oh, it's cool. This one, I do kind of like the design. I do like the color. It does look very sleek and very nice. Each of them have the same buttons that they did before. You have the on button, which is this little switch. And you have the reset button for when you're playing a game, you reset it, and then it takes you back to the menu. Same thing here, power, and then reset. You got power, reset, and then power, reset. Then, of course, you have the ports. These controllers are already on there, so it doesn't matter. You got the ports for 2 controllers. Got ports here. This is where you unlock this. Let me see if I can do it. There we go. This is where you put the 2 controllers. And then the same thing goes for the Super Nintendo. It does the same thing, which at times is a little bit more difficult to get out than that one. There we go. Put the controllers in there, and then you can play. Awesome. Put that back. So these are all the consoles, like I just said. They look very nice. Like I said, I prefer the design of the Famicoms, but I do think these are more classic. Now, in terms of just how the controllers aren't different except for these. The reason why these are different is that these are extremely small. They're super small. Just look how they are compared to my hand. The reason why they're so small is just because they were attached to the console, unlike any of these other controllers that are here. You got the Nintendo controller, which is significantly bigger. You got the Super Nintendo controller right here. And then you have the Super Famicom. All these are the same size relatively and the same look. These are the only ones that are just a lot smaller, and that's because they're attached. One thing I have to say is a little bit annoying about the NES version is that all of these versions, all 3 of these consoles, came with 2 controllers. As you can see, 2, and of course these are attached. So all of them came with 2 controllers, so then you could play with 2 people. However, the NES itself only came with 1, and considering how rare this goddamn console is, it's really hard to get a hold of another one. So I had to get a really cheapy one online, an off-brand controller, unfortunately, but that's how it is. As far as the controllers go, they're relatively the exact same controllers as they were a long time ago. As you can see, Super Nintendo, and then you got the Super Famicom controller. In terms of controllers, I have to say I really like the Super Famicom controller. I have seen it before. It looks really nice. I just like the different colors that the buttons have, unlike this one, which just kind of has the slightly less purple and the dark purple. I don't know. It's a personal opinion. That's me. That's not to say I don't like these the American consoles anymore. That's just to say I do like the designs more on the Famicoms. They just look more interesting to me personally. Even the boxes at times. Except for the Super Famicom, it's kind of like, it's whatever. The Famicom version of the box looks really awesome. It's okay. Pretty cool. Now, like I said before, these consoles have different games, 6 games in total that are not the same. But for the most part, you get the same value with each of these 30 games. That's a lot of games, and they're all classic. But there are a few things I have to mention if you want to get either one of these. For the Famicom consoles, if you want to get them, know one thing: they are pure Japanese. They do not have English subtitles at all. So if you do not know a little bit of Japanese, not a single kanji, not anything of katakana, then it will be extremely hard for you to understand what the fuck's going on. Nearly impossible. Even me, who has known some of this stuff for about a couple years now, has a hard time keeping up with it at times. It is hard at times. So just letting you know. Another thing that is a big difference is the little AC power adapter. Let me see if I can get it right now. Oh no. Oh no, the controller's caught on it. Help. Help. Look at it. It's just... yeah, I don't know what made me think to have these cables like that. There we go. So this is the cable. This is the power cable that goes for all of them. You connect it from the other side, but this is what we are looking at right here. If it could focus, there we go. Come on. This is what we're looking at. If you are in the United States, this will come with a brick. If you get the Super NES or the NES itself, this will come with a power brick, which is this thing right here, an AC adapter. It'll come with one of these. It comes with both the SNES and NES. However, if you're getting the Famicom, it does not come with that. So just be wary that if you get a Famicom or anything, you will not get the AC adapter, mostly because it tells you you're supposed to plug it into the TV, that's where the port is. And those are the kind of TVs in Japan, they have that special port. We don't, or maybe the United States does. I don't know. I'm assuming we don't, but that's just based on my experience. So that's another just kind of thing to look out for. I'm just letting you guys know. Now, other than that, that's really it. I just want to show off these cool little systems. I think they're really nice. I definitely suggest picking them up. They're all cheap. Around 80 bucks. Probably not this guy right here. He's probably like $100 and something because people are assholes. But if you do want to get them, I do suggest them. They are awesome. Come with 30 games. It's great value. Just know if you're going to get the Famicoms, like I said, it's all in Japanese. If you speak Japanese fluently and you understand the kanji fluently, which is nearly impossible unless you grew up there, it's going to be a little bit difficult. And yeah, that's the biggest takeaway. Anyways, next time I want for a review, maybe I could do another one of these videos. Who knows? As always, have a nice day.